The New York Mets have a new weapon in the starting rotation, and he is nasty.
When that final out is made, you know it's time for Locked On MLB Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. Prepare to experience game day reactions like never before. Only on Locked On MLB Game Night. Your team every day.
Welcome into another edition of Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night. My name's John Frisch. I'm one half of Locked On Angels, and with me is a man who watched Breaking Bad in reverse order because he thought it'd make more sense that way. JD Haffron from Locked On Cardinals. We got a lot coming up on today's show, including Shohei Ohtani hitting his 100th Dodger home run. But was it enough to overcome the pesky Pirates? The Yankees, Trent Grisham changes his name to Trent Grand Slam, and JD's Cards hold the hot A's offense down in St. Louis. But before we get to all that, I want to thank our friends over at Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. JD, we're taking it to Detroit, my friend. It was game 2 between two playoff-bound teams. I'm pretty confident in saying so, as the Tigers hosted the Mets in Detroit. Nolan McLean is a name that everybody needs to know. He took the ball for the Mets, and he's been electric since he arrived in the majors. Since his debut before tonight's game, he picked up 3 straight winning decisions, only gave up 2 earned runs across 20 and a third innings pitched. And we're wondering if he could keep it up against the powerhouse Tigers. Well, let's turn it over to Ryan of Locked On Mets on how New York's offense stayed hot behind McLean on the mound.
Mets bats stay hot, and Nolan McLean is continuing his ascent as the New York Mets' newfound ace. This is Ryan Finkelstein, the host of Locked On Mets. We saw a great blowout victory on Tuesday as the Mets piled on 12 runs against the Tigers on 17 hits. Pete Alonso got the Mets on the board in the first inning with a solo homer. But then in the 4th inning, it was Luis Torrens who started to break the game open, capping a 5-run rally with a 3-run homer. The Mets would have a 6-run rally in the 7th inning that was highlighted by back-to-back home runs by Juan Soto and Pete Alonso, and they really did just cruise to the victory in the end. But early in the game, things were a little bit closer, and Nolan McLean was really tested in a way he hasn't been so far in his young big league career. Did not have his best stuff early, but showed his ability to pitch his way through it, to find different ways to get batters out, and he ended up just competing his way all the way through 6 innings. Even when he was well over 40 pitches through the first 2 innings, he just was able to keep on attacking, and ultimately he gives the Mets another quality start. First pitcher in franchise history to win his first 4 starts. He's been a truly special arm for the Mets, and at this point, I don't think there's any second guessing it. Nolan McLean is the ace of the New York Mets.
Yeah, it's not as if McLean has had, easy starts so far. He's beaten Seattle. Now he beats the Tigers, which is great to see. 6 innings pitched, 2 earned runs on 3 hits, 7 strikeouts, 3 walks. Now a 1.37 ERA through his first 4 winning starts. 4 home runs for the Mets, as Ryan mentioned, 2 from Pete Alonso. The Tigers did get 3 in the bottom of the 9th, but it was already pretty much out of reach at that point with this 12-5 Mets victory. JD, I love a good pitching story. I love seeing a new guy on the mound, and McLean has certainly made a name for himself so far. Now, we've heard both Ryan from Locked On Mets and Chris Schubert of the Mets postcast declare him the Mets' new ace. Now, I want to know from you, is it too early to do that? Is he the ace of the Mets staff? Is he the ace of any staff? What do you think of him so far?
I mean, no pressure, kid, right? All hopes and dreams of all the Mets. You know how much money we spend on our pitching staff, but it's all on you. Good luck.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's a little early to say that. I mean, I don't mind hearing them be positive and excited to see this kid. Why would you be? But I would also kind of be like, well, let's pump the brakes for a second and just realize that you do have guys like Kodai Senga. You still got a Clay Holmes. You got a Sean Manaea who you got back. And maybe those guys aren't true number one guys, although I'm pretty sure Kodai Senga, fits the bill for who should be a number one for the Mets. But I wouldn't put all of your hopes and dreams just on this kid for this year. Maybe he is the guy next year that comes out and, and ends up becoming the number one for you. Certainly pitching as well as anybody else on the staff. So if you want to go with that, but I mean, we know how things can get in New York. I remember a guy by the name of Matt Harvey who was dubbed the number one, the new Batman of Gotham, and they went all in on him, and that didn't turn out so well. So just relax a little bit, but enjoy the ride that Nolan McLean has given them so far, because, man, he has been outstanding from what we've seen.
Certainly giving them a reason to be excited as they head toward the postseason. Absolutely. Yeah. And don't want to count your chickens before they hatch, but so far so good for Nolan McLean, and he's just got to do it again in the next start. Hey, let's take it to Pittsburgh, where the Dodgers headed out to face the Pirates, hoping to pick up some wins and stay ahead in the National League West. But despite Shohei Ohtani's 100th home run as a Dodger, his 46th on the season, and hitting it out at 120 miles per hour, JD.
Crazy.
It turned into quite a battle between the Pirates and the Dodgers. Here's Gary from Locked On Pirates with the results, and he's feeling quite proud of his team after this one.
When you're a young team and you're trying to find out what kids are made of, there's nothing better than facing a team like the Dodgers. Hi, this is Gary from Locked On Pirates. Bucks beat the Dodgers, went toe-to-toe with them tonight, 9-7, and it was just hard fought from moment one. First, the Pirates jumped all over Clayton Kershaw in the bottom of the first, tagged him for 4 runs. First 5 guys reached base. I mean, they lit him up. And then what did Clayton do? Because he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, just turned around and went ahead and served up a good game, basically. Held it together long enough to keep his team in it, and left with a tie game. Pirates eventually, though, they fought, and they just kept adding on. Everybody hit. Jared Triolo continues to be hot. Brian Reynolds, Tommy Pham, Andrew McCutchen. I mean, even York got a hit in this one the first time he was up. Henry Davis came through big with runners on base. Everything you could want to see. And Bubba Chandler comes in relief in the 3rd inning and goes 4 innings, learns an important lesson on a couple big solo blasts that he left pitches in bad places. It doesn't matter how fast you throw them in that case. Lesson learned, still collects a W for this one. All things good, for real. This was a fun one, really. A fun ball game. Proud of my team tonight. More on this tomorrow on Locked On Pirates.
Wonder how many people in Gary's life call him Gare Bear, because he looks like a Gare Bear to me. So the Pirates, they really did go toe-to-toe with like the most dangerous lineup in baseball with the Dodgers. And as he mentioned, Bubba Chandler, baseball's #1 pitching prospect, gets the win, working 4 innings of relief. But the big difference in this game, JD, the Pirates were 5 for 11 with runners in scoring position. Dodgers 2 for 10 with runners in scoring position. Even though the Dodgers had 12 hits, the Pirates had 8, and they got them when they matter. Now, question for you, my friend. You've watched a lot of Pirates as a fan of a team from the NL Central. Is this end of the season setting them up for success next year, or is it going to be more of the same with, bright spots here and there with the Pirates, but not quite enough as they have had so far this season?
Well, any positivity at the end of a bad season is a good thing. I think it gives you hope going into the off season. And I certainly have some positive things to feel about what they've got in their starting rotation next year. I mean, you give me a Skeens and a Bubba Chandler and a Mitch Keller, and you got to get Jared Jones back as well. I mean, that's pretty good starting 4 right there. And then, they tend to find some guys that can take the back end of that rotation there. They've got who else they got? They had Andrew Heaney earlier this year. But my thing is like when he started mentioning names, he starts mentioning McCutchen and Tommy Pham. These are not guys that are going to take you into the future. Like they need more from other people in their organization offensively. Triolo is obviously a good story for them, but They just need more. They need more from Brian Reynolds, and they need
Yeah.
more from some of these other guys on the offensive side of things, because they can't just rely on late 30-year-old outfielders to lead them into the promised land. They're just going to lose a lot of 2-1, 3-2 ball games with that pitching staff, and we know how frustrating that can be. So a lot of positivity for the rotation, but there's still a lot of work to do in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, a lot of work to be done, even though they got a good, little baseline with the starting rotation, like you mentioned. Hey, we've got two AL teams that absolutely hate each other in what might be a postseason preview. That's coming right up on MLB Game Night.
Hey, MLB fans, today's show is being brought to you by Upside. And are you still paying full price for gas? Because that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Stop leaving money behind. Get real cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. Simply download the free Upside app. That's right. It's free. You can get it in the App Store or Google Play and start earning cash at the pump today. You can use our limited time promo code, which is SEASON, SEASON, and get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill up. You could make up to $300 a year just from buying the gas you already need. If you're making the commute to work or school or wherever you're going, why wouldn't you want money back? That doesn't make a lot of sense to not do this. It's not too good to be true either. This is legit. Real people getting paid to make their daily commutes, and you can too. Plus, you can cash out anytime into your bank account, PayPal. You can do it to an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands as well. Don't let this offer drive on by. Download the free Upside app now using our limited time promo code SEASON for a limited time 25-cent per gallon bonus. That's promo code SEASON. Offers vary by users and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions. Today's show also being brought to you by Game Time. Now, there's nothing like catching a baseball game live, especially if you got a team that is in the pennant chase right now. They're in the hunt for the playoff spot. But getting tickets, now that is where things can get a little bit tough. You got queues, you got login screens, you got surprise fees. None of that is fun. It just takes all the fun out of buying the tickets that you want to go see the teams you love. And that's why we use Game Time here at MLB Game Night, the app that gives the advantage back to the fans. Game Time is fast and easy and backed by their Game Time guarantee. You always get 100% authentic tickets. They're delivered on time and at the best price possible. Plus, all the fees are included. So the price that you were seeing on the screen there, that is the price you paid. No secret fees that you're going to be like, where did that come from? It's faster, it's cheaper, it's less stressful, you guys, than other ways to buy tickets. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONMLB, LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today.
Back here on a Locked On MLB Game Night, every game, every night. Let's take you to Houston, where the Astros are coming off a win over the Angels on Monday, while the Yankees, they got a nice little Labor Day off. Imagine that, having Labor Day off. Battle of Southpaws.
Don't know what that's like, John. Have no clue what that feels like.
Busiest guys in podcasting, baby. It was a battle of Southpaws. Max Fried went for the Yankees against Framber Valdez for Houston, and it was the Yankees' power stepping up once again in this one. Here's Brian from Locked On Yankees with the scoop from Houston.
Yankees get their season-defining 12-game stretch going with a victory. They got one. We said they needed 7, and they got one so far. I'm Brian McKean from Locked On Yankees, and it worked with the Powerball in this game. The Yankees were hitting really well, a lot of home runs. Jazz Chisholm with 2 in this game, off of a guy who doesn't give up any home runs barely throughout the season. That's a really good sign. Plus, the Yankees put on an absolute fielding clinic in this game between the stuff McMahon did and Max Fried on the mound. He was pitching angry, and that's a good thing. It's a really good thing for the rest of this season and how it shows. Great way to start this 12-game stretch, and plus, I've got a theory on a possible platoon situation the Yankees are going to go forward with. You're going to want to tune into Locked On Yankees to hear about that.
Yeah, Brian mentioned how Fried was pitching angry. It seemed like maybe Framber Valdez was pitching angry. We're going to hear from Brett of Locked On Astros, who's looking for some answers on what he saw from Framber.
Well, this one probably requires a few El Tiempo margaritas after the result the Astros didn't want. Hello, I'm H-Town Wheelhouse here with Locked On Astros. And let me tell you, this game was drunk from the beginning. the Framber Valdez meltdown, the Framber Valdez being shooed away from Cesar Salazar, then the next pitch he throws gives up a grand slam, and then crosses up Cesar Salazar and hits him, almost looks intentional. What's going on with Framber Valdez? I'm not going to ask what's going on with this offense because we know it's incredibly inconsistent. They showed last night what they could do, but usually when they face top pitchers, they've done pretty well this year. They've handled good pitchers with good offense, and tonight there was nothing. So the Astros are thankful that the Mariners lost, but the Rangers keep winning. Are the Rangers going to flip the script to who is chasing the Houston Astros? Stay tuned into Locked On Astros. Eric and I got you covered no matter what happens. The Astros lose game 1. They look to take the next 2 to hopefully win the series. We'll see. Maybe not.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen the footage of what Brett was describing there, JD, it was, they said all the right things afterward, but tell me what you saw in this one.
All right. So when Brett's talking about how the catcher shooed Framber, so it looked to me like he was trying to tell him to step off, like that we don't want to throw this pitch or whatever, tell him to step off. Framber had already started his motion, and the pitch goes right down the middle, and Grisham hits the grand slam over the wall into the Crawford boxes in left. Clearly not happy, Valdez. You can see it like if it's like a cartoon where there's smoke coming out of his ears and out of his nose. I don't know if he was distracted by maybe his catcher telling him to hey, do it, and you just didn't do it. There were runners on base, obviously, so maybe didn't want to risk a balk. I'm not sure exactly what was going on there, but next pitch clearly to me looks intentional. Like, I mean, you've got PitchCom now that speaks all the languages, so there shouldn't be any miscommunication about whether a breaking ball is coming or a fastball is coming. And in the post-game media scrum, they asked Framber, and he was like, no. It wasn't like that. I wanted to throw a sinker. I think he called curveball, but I had already in my mind sinker was coming. So, that's what happened. But the catcher clearly was like, what in the hell what was that? What are you doing? And Valdez showed no remorse whatsoever. No. Like, he spun around like, how's that feel? You like that? And that's just the way I interpreted it. Obviously Brett, who watches this team every day, felt the same way. I've seen a lot of people online all saying, like, there's no way that wasn't on purpose, that he wasn't trying to teach his catcher a lesson there. But I don't know. Not a good look for a guy who's about to become a free agent and is going to be wanting teams to pay him a whole lot of money to be wearing their colors next year. So bad form, Framber Valdez.
Hopefully he can get along with Logan O'Hoppe on the Angels next year. It doesn't hurt him too bad. Yeah, that grand slam, by the way, by Trent Grisham into the Crawford boxes in the 5th. That's what blew it open. 29 home runs on the year for him now. He's never hit more than 17 coming into the season. So, yeah, they're the pinstripes are working well for him. Let's take it to Boston, where they got some bad news. Red Sox rookie Roman Anthony left the game in the 4th inning with what appears to be an oblique injury. He called it worse than whatever back pain he had that was bothering him last month. Now, the Red Sox seemed to be cruising to a win, but then Cleveland put up a 3-homer, 5-run inning in the top of the 6th, took a 7-5 lead. The Red Sox answered back in the bottom of the inning with a 2-run homer from Ceddanne Rafaela. Bregman beat out an infield single, drove in the go-ahead run in the 8th, and then RBI doubles from Jarren Duran and Trevor Story stack up 4 runs, and the Red Sox win this one 11-7. Justin Latta of Locked On Guardians, he's got the details on what went wrong late in the game for Cleveland.
In a weird turn of events, the Guardians were out guards balled by the Boston Red Sox on their way to another disappointing loss that's going to continue to crush their season smaller and smaller as we reach the end here. Justin Latta of Locked On Guardians. Guardians scored 7 runs. They had 4 home runs. When you have home runs from Giancarlo Noel and Austin Hedges and David Fry and Brian Rocchio, you got to win those games if you're the Guardians. Unfortunately, Slade Cecconi gets hit hard. And, he had a couple of balls in the 3rd inning that were not his fault. They were just very well placed and nothing much you can really do about it. The Guardians didn't have that kind of luck. The Red Sox did. They hit a lot of balls tonight. Obviously hit the ball hard, too, off Slade Cecconi, and they hit the ball hard throughout the game, too, but they also scored a lot of their runs, especially in the 8th inning there, on balls that just found the perfect place on the diamond. It just is what it is. That's the Guardians in a nutshell this year. When they play well, they have bad luck. When they don't play well, they can't get any good luck. Nothing seems to be happening right for them this year. That's just the way things have gone. We're getting to the point where the wins and losses don't matter on paper. They matter to the players, but they don't matter on paper. We'll talk about what we want to see the rest of the year for the Guardians on Locked On Guardians. Be there.
Yeah, the Guardians fall to under 500, a game under 500, 4 back of the last wild card spot. Red Sox sitting pretty at the top of the AL wild card with 78 wins. Got their sights set on first place, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But in the words of Lloyd Christmas, sparks flew, emotions ran high. We'll tell you what happened in Colorado. That's next on MLB Game Night.
Today's show being brought to you by Monarch Money. Now, most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, investments. It gets a little confusing, and when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table, and that is something you do not want to happen, and that's why there is Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together, all in one clean, easy-to-use interface. It's on your laptop, or you can put it on your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives, people like me and you. If you've put off organizing your finances, Monarch is here for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. They take care of all of it. You can link up all your accounts, do it in minutes. You can see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet, which is good for people like me who aren't great at math. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONMLB.
All right, we're going to take you around the rest of the league, including Cincinnati, where the Reds had a thrilling come-from-behind walk-off win on Monday, stunned the Blue Jays, but didn't go quite as well on Tuesday. Right out of the gate, Nick Lodolo, the starter for the Reds, was scratched with an illness, so it became a bullpen game for Cincinnati. Blue Jays took advantage of that, plating 4 runs in the first and 4 in the second, as they took a 12-9 victory at Great American Ballpark. George Springer, 2 more Springer dingers for him, including a leadoff shot to start the game. 26 on the year for Springer. He finished 3 for 4 with 3 runs scored and 3 RBIs. Bo Bichette gets his 18th of the year, a 3-run shot in the second inning. Vladdy Jr., pillar of consistency, 3 for 5. Alejandro Kirk drove in 3. The Reds offense, they did do their part to try to keep up with the Jays, and they got 15 hits in this one, including home runs from Austin Hayes and TJ Friedel. But after going down 8-1, they scored 5 in the second to pull within, but they couldn't slow down the Toronto offense enough to tie it up. Fortunately for the Blue Jays, no late inning blow up in this one like there was on Monday. 12-9 victory for Toronto, and they'll have the rubber match on Wednesday night. We'll keep it going here in Chicago, where the Braves are meeting the Cubs, and the Cubs walked the Braves off in 10 innings on Monday, trying to keep pace with the Brewers in the NL Central. Brewers had the day off, and the Cubs trying to stack those wins, and they're not far behind. It's good news for them, and a bad news situation involving outfielder Kyle Tucker. Good news was that he hit a momentum-swinging 3-run shot to left in the third to give the Cubs a lead that they would never give up. But the bad news is he left the game in the 7th with calf tightness. Not going to play tomorrow. They have an off day on Thursday, so give him some time on the bench. I know Sam has been calling for, give him a break because Kyle Tucker's been needing it, but he's starting September off just right because he's turned in a 400, 489 on base and an 800 slugging with 4 homers, 4 doubles, and 11 RBIs over his last 11 games for the Cubs. Cubbies win at 4-3. They'll go for the 3-game sweep on Wednesday night with Cade Horton scheduled to start. I like that guy. Helped me win my fantasy league. JD, the Cardinals and the A's met in St. Louis. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, so the A's, they clobbered the Cardinals on Monday, 11-3, and we're facing one of the Cardinals' worst pitchers in Miles Mikolas. He's been one of the most hittable guys in the league over the last 3 years. Came into this game with an ERA over 5. The A's were getting Nick Kurtz back into the lineup. They were getting Shea Langoliers back in there as well. So they had the full squad ready to go, full force, ready to face Miles Mikolas. So naturally, we had a pitcher's duel, right? That's how it works out, because you never know with baseball. And this pitcher's duel ultimately went to Miles Mikolas out of nowhere. And Cardinals fans were like, what are we watching? Who is this guy on the mound? Is he body snatchers? Somebody took him over? What is this? Cardinals are able to eke out a 2-1 victory in St. Louis. Mikolas does not strike out a single batter. None. But manages to go 6 innings and allows just 1 run. Make sense of it. I can't. Luis Severino started for the Athletics. He went 5 shutout innings, but was yanked after just 61 pitches in his return from the IL. Me and Booney from Locked On A's were like texting during the game, and he's like, what are they doing? 61 pitches? I don't understand. And he was right, because that's when the Cardinals struck, when the A's went to the bullpen, get a 2-run home run from Ivan Herrera to take a 2-1 lead. The combo of Matt Swanson and Jojo Romero threw 3 shutout innings for the Cardinals to close it out. 2 teams will have their rubber match on Wednesday night, with Jeffrey Springs going against Matthew Liberatore. But Booney was quite upset with me. He goes, first off, our predictions were trash. Neither one of us got anything right in our predictions and our crossover. Miles Mikolas looks like a Cy Young Award winner. I'm like, bro, I've been watching this dude for like 6 years. This is not what he normally does, but he doesn't trust me anymore. Booney, it's gone. The trust is gone. Booney has given up on me, and he wanted me to point out that Miles Mikolas should be in the Cy Young talk after what he saw.
Can't be trusted anymore with the
apparently not
starting pitching. Let's take it to Minnesota. The White Sox and the Twins have a 4-game set, and Chicago took game 1 by a score of 6-5. There was some late inning scoring for Chicago, but this one, they ran away with it early, and thanks in part to a great day from Andrew Benintendi. Todd from Locked On White Sox is going to tell us about Benintendi's big day at the plate.
Andrew Benintendi went from possibly having a rough night in the field to having a great game at the plate. Hello, I'm Todd Welter, host of Locked On White Sox, and the White Sox crushed the Twins as Benintendi drove in 5 runs on 4 hits, including a solo blast in the 2nd inning, and then a 3-run shot in the 8th that sealed the blowout victory. Benintendi, he had some defensive gaffes early in the 1st inning, but more than made up for it with what he did at the plate, especially when he drove in the go-ahead run in the 6th. The Sox also got home runs from Kyle Teal and Lenyn Sosa, who crushed back-to-back solo shots that broke this game wide open, and it keeps getting clearer by the day. The White Sox must build up a power lineup, and if they do, things can turn around quickly for the Pale Hose. And I'll have more on tomorrow's episode of Locked On White Sox.
Sounds a lot like what we were talking about with Pittsburgh for the White Sox. Just get some good players, for crying out loud. You got a good core there. Like, do something for your fan base.
You know what you got to do to win ball games, John? Get good players.
Right.
Make them do good things. Like,
maybe score some runs
and throw the ball really, really well. And you'll be okay. No, I know. We're all searching for it. All of us teams that are 500 or below, we're all searching for the good players. Trust me.
Exactly. Hey, JD, take us to your second favorite team. Take us to Tampa, where the Mariners met the Rays.
Oh, buddy. Junior Caminero time.
Come on.
So the Rays plastered the M's on Monday, 10-2, if you remember. But Seattle had our boy Brian Woo on the bump, and he was coming off a heck of a month in August where he went 4-1, 2.27 ERA. But the Rays bats, they stayed hot early, scoring 2 in the first to grab the lead. But the Mariners, they would answer back with a big, even big is a bad word to use. It was huge 4th inning where they flexed their muscles, not once, not twice, 3 times. Solo home runs from Cal Raleigh. He's got 51 now. Julio Rodriguez hit one. Those 2 went back-to-back. Then it was Jorge Polanco. And just like that, 3-2. 3 home runs. Rays are losing, but the Rays got a guy, as I mentioned, got a little pop in his bat too. That guy, Junior Caminero, he's God tier right now this season. Slugs his 40th of the year, ties it up at 3, and then in the 7th inning, he's the difference maker once again with a 2-run double to give them a 6-4 lead. Rays are able to hang on to win it 6-5. Caminero, and we forget how young this guy is, right? Caminero finishes the game 3 for 4 with 4 RBIs, becomes only the 2nd player in franchise history. I know they haven't been around forever, but are the 2nd guy in franchise history to hit 40 home runs in a single season. He's 6 off the all-time record for the Rays, which is held by Pena. He is the 4th youngest player in Major League history with at least 40 home runs in a season behind some well-known people. You might have heard of these guys: Mel Ott, Ronald Acuna Jr., and Eddie Matthews. So this is a kid that is just amazing. I don't want to talk about his defense all that much, but offensively, this guy, he's one of the best in the league, and is still 22 years old. It's ridiculous how talented this guy is, and he's really a whole lot of fun to watch if you get a chance to do it.
Absolutely. Certainly going to get some MVP votes there at the end of the season, in my opinion. Let me take you to Kansas City. The Angels got a 5-1 win behind Mitch Ferris, somebody they called up from Double-A. He's been in the Braves organization before. He's got the second most strikeouts in all of Double-A baseball. Today he went 5 innings pitched, 1 earned run, 3 strikeouts, 2 walks. Earned his first major league win in this game, and he struck out Bobby Witt Jr. for his first major league strikeout. Joe Adell hit his 32nd home run of the season. Former Yankee Oswald Peraza had a nice day too. 2 for 4 with a double, a run scored, a stolen base. Feels like he's a great change of scenery guy, JD, where, the Yankees are pretty fast paced, trying to get to the playoffs. Maybe Peraza got lost in the shuffle, but being on the Angels, not making the playoffs, a little slower pace. I think that he could be a nice guy for them, maybe at third base next year. Because we're not counting on Anthony Rendon to even show up to the ballpark after this year. Let me take you to San Diego, where the Orioles got a second starter back from the injured list in Tyler Wells. He took the mound versus San Diego. Last week, they got Kyle Bradish back from Tommy John surgery. Tyler Wells had a UCL repair done early last year after only 3 starts. He got the win. 5 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, and on 85 pitches, fared better than Yu Darvish, who struggled in this one. The O's took a 5-2 lead, and then into the 7th inning, the Padres threatened with the bases loaded, but Luis Arraez struck out with 1 out, so that was 2, and then Machado grounded out. Jeremiah Jackson had a big day for the O's, made it a 6-2 Orioles win down in San Diego. All right, JD, take us up to the Rocky Mountains, where there were some fireworks in Denver.
Yes, there were. Rafael Devers ends up hitting a 2-run home run off of Rocky starter Kyle Freeland in the top of the first. And yeah, he looked at it quite a while, and Freeland did not appreciate that kind of reaction from Devers. And so we had ourselves some yelling and some screaming, and benches just vroom, they all clear. It almost looked like everybody was like, can we do it? Are we allowed? Okay. Yeah. And they all just came rushing out there, even though Devers and Freeland weren't even really that close to each other, because Devers is trying to get around the first base bag because he's just hit a home run. He's trying to, do his trot. Bench is clear, lots of shoving and pushing. I know the announcer said there were some punches thrown. Matt Chapman, he came racing in and gave Freeland a good little shove. So still not sure if Devers was able to run the bases and make the home run count or not, but eventually it did go up on the board. Willy Adames and Matt Chapman were ejected from the game before they could even take their first at-bats. Kyle Freeland, before he recorded an out, Wilmer Flores, Patrick Bailey, and Casey Schmidt also homered in this particular game. The Giants would win this one by a score of 7-4 and hand Colorado their 100th loss of the season.
Woof. All right. Marlins and Nationals. Nationals make it 2 in a row against the Marlins, take the series with a 5-2 win. Cade Cavalli got his 2nd win of the season in his 6th start. James Wood hit his 27th home run of the year. He's having a great year in his first full season. 258 average, 355 on base, 476 slugging, and 831 OPS, 86 RBIs, and 15 stolen bases. Finally, let's take you to the desert. The Texas Rangers shocked the Diamondbacks on Monday, coming back from 2 down in the 9th inning to win it by 2 in the 10th inning. This time it was Arizona scoring late in the 6th and 3 in the 7th on a Ketel Marte 3-run home run to put the Snakes up 5-2. They hung on to win it 5-3. AL West has Houston up by 3 games, in Seattle with Texas at 4.5 back. So the Rangers are just 1.5 back in the AL wildcard. It's getting crazy. The AL West is not a sure thing as it was maybe even just a month ago. So just
the way we like it, though. It makes it exciting here in September.
Exactly. Hey, thanks for being here for this episode of Locked On MLB Game Night. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. On behalf of my co-host, JD Haffern, I'm John Frisch. We hope you'll come back and join us again for more Locked On MLB Game Night, where it's every game, every night.
Miles Michaelis for the Cy Young. Write it in.